defense strategy. So over the past 30 years, I'd say that about 2/3, 70% of our problems stem from one source. What looks like tactical problems have one source, and that source is Iran. I'm not talking about the nuclear path. I'm talking about Lebanon, Gaza, Hamas, Hezbollah. Here's how it works. You've got an octopus whose head is in Iran, and it sends its arms to sort of envelope us in Lebanon, in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Gaza. And I want to explain what that means. Hezbollah is, for all intents and purposes, is Iran. Hezbollah was funded and is funded roughly $1 billion a year by Iran. It's trained by Iran. It's equipped by Iran. Its methodology is Iranian, and it acts on Iran's command. So effectively, the Iranian mullahs are 1,100 kilometers to the east, and they send this long arm to hit us, to shoot rockets on us. Same Hamas, not to the same degree, but a great deal of Hamas gets armed by Iran, funded by Iran, trained by Iran. They send people to seminars and to workshops to learn how to use a certain rocket, explosives, and then they come back into Gaza. And what's happened for the past 30 years is Israel has responded tactically to the fingertips of this octopus. We've sent soldiers to fight. I fought in the 90s in many operations. In the Second Lebanon War, I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room. We went out and fought the fingertips of this octopus. And our boys died fighting the fingertips of this octopus. Yet, back in Iran, the guys who are doing all of this, they're immune. They're 1,100 kilometers from here. No one's touching them. Same in Gaza. We send our soldiers to Sajaiya, to Khan Yunis, to Gaza. Same. And our boys fall. The gist of the change that we're implementing right now, these very weeks, is the following: shifting our national security resources where to? Iran. We're embarking on an ongoing campaign. It's not a one-off hit, but our campaign is to get hold of that octopus head and weaken it and strangle it so less oxygen flows to the arms. What happens to your arm when less blood flows to it? A bit less, it weakens. And what if there's no blood for a few hours? What happens? Right. So if we can avoid direct confrontation, if we can prevent the third Lebanon war, that's way better. I do not want to send our boys into Lebanon if possible. We might have to, but as last resort. Same in Gaza. If we can weaken Gaza by focusing the ongoing campaign, which I'll explain in a moment, but weakening that octopus and stopping the flow of blood, of oxygen, maybe we can skip the next Gaza campaign. That's what we're doing. This is an ongoing campaign, economic, diplomatic, intelligence, and military, on all dimensions, on Iran. We're moving from defensive to offensive. And what does it mean? Right now, our partner, our biggest friend The United States of America has imposed paralyzing sanctions on Iran. The Iranian GDP has dropped 9.5%. It's one of the only countries in the world with a declining GDP. That's disaster, right? In Israel, we're at about 3% growth, which is really good. Their budget is down about 40%. They've got less money. They've got widespread protests across Iran from all stratas of the population. The lower socioeconomic, medium, higher. Everyone's there frustrated. And the Persian people, they're good people. It's an amazing people. By the way, we have national debt to the Persians, right? 2,500 years ago, their king let us come back to Israel, Koresh. And what are the people saying? They're out protesting, saying this to their leaders already now. Stop all your adventures. Focus on us. We're hungry. We're thirsty. We're poor. We don't deserve all of this because you're wasting the national resources of the state of Israel on your stupidity, on your terror. We don't want all of this. Start taking care of us. So our campaign is in sync with the Persian people. But it's not only economy, it's also diplomatic and militarily. We're stepping up our offensive attacks on Iranian presence in Syria. We're telling Iran, who has been trying to build up presence in Syria, and we've sort of been fending them off, we're taking one step more. We're telling them something simple. Get out of Syria. You got no business in Syria. It's not your neighbor. Iran and Syria do not share a border. You've got Iraq in the middle. Get out of here. We're not going to let you build and place tens of thousands of rockets like you did in Hezbollah. By the way, already the budget to Hezbollah is dropped. Down from $1 billion to about 700 million and dropping because there's less oxygen, less salaries to these soldiers. They're soldiers. It's a full-fledged army. Less rocket maintenance. This is all good news. But we have to increase the pressure. Increase, and go for the jugular. Go to the source. Not waste our money, and more important, our lives on fighting the tip of this big octopus. So, according to foreign sources, there's been a bunch of big attacks, including last week in Syria. We're going to see more and more of that. Now, is there a risk? I'm told that there's a risk that this will create a war with Iran. My answer is, guys, we've been at war with Iran for 30 years, but it was a one-sided war. They hit us and we didn't hit back. We're at war. We got to fight back. That's the main thing that's going on today, strategic level. And then there's gazillion other stuff. We've approved a 5-year plan for Tzahal, working on Gaza, again, through Iran, but also direct. And I know people are impatient with rockets, etc. My message to Hamas is your actions will speak. They said on Friday they're going to stop letting out balloons, and they actually did, but it's only 3 days. It's too early to celebrate. I say, if you're quiet, the Gazan people will lead good lives. I've got no issue with them. But if not, we close it. And if necessary, we hit back. And if necessary, we're preparing stuff for the early spring. If they don't calm down, as last resort, we will take more substantial action.